Good morning again. That one's teenage, you can't have it. She's gonna take her time. It's okay. It's hers. It's hers. It's hers. Just a second. Let me get this sorted out here for some harmony. Hey, hey, that's not yours. Yeah, I'll give you a little piece of this. This is what she has. What if you come over here? Here's yours. Do you need one? There you go. You gotta eat it slower than that. No, that's all there is. That was it. Don't go after hers. No, no. She's a little slower than you are. That's okay. What's happened is that they're having little salmon treats, and she has the salmon treat that has the skin on it, and it takes longer to eat it. And so there's some fascination and some envy, which is a good way for us to start our practice this morning, looking at the Brahmavihara of equanimity. So, equanimity. The Sanskrit word for equanimity is upeksha, upekshanam in the sutras. Now this little intelligent one knows where the bags are, the little treat bags. So then I have to have equanimity about her rustling through that while we're going to meditate. Yeah, that's how it turned out this morning. She got the skin part and you didn't. Yeah. Okay, let's take a comfortable seat together, please. You can rest your hands in your lap. Close your eyes. So you stay away from her treat. Give her a chance. Yeah, you're okay. You're both going to be okay. That is my water glass, though. Okay. Upekshanam or upeksha means equanimity, and sometimes I describe it as it is, since it's the fourth of the Bramaviharas, it is actually the most difficult, because with compassion, karuna, we feel like we're making an offering, we're doing something, we're practicing compassion. With appreciative joy, we feel like there's an active offering, a kind of happiness for the happiness or the good fortune of the other. With loving kindness, we also feel like there's something that we're offering, we're doing something, we're encouraging or cultivating something. And while with equanimity, we also have to cultivate that. There's a feeling that we've come to, compassion isn't the option in this circumstance, appreciative joy won't be the option in this circumstance, and loving kindness is not the option in a certain circumstance. So we're left with the most difficult of the Brahmaviharas, which is equanimity. It means to have an evenness of heart, to have an evenness of mind towards whatever the experience is, as if you were a boat on the ocean experiencing the waves. You are not such a huge, enormous boat that you feel nothing, and you are not such a tiny boat that every wave is threatening to capsize you, but you are feeling the waves and knowing that in equanimity, we welcome what is happening just as it is without trying to change it. Equanimity is an evenness of mind and heart. Let's bring in the quality of the breath that supports that evenness. You can make the breath smooth and also equal between inhale and exhale. Remind yourself that all of the Bramaviharas are to free your heart from the difficulty of staying, let's say, entangled in or enmeshed in something. It is to free your heart from grasping, craving, clinging, to free your heart from aversion or intolerance or frustration. Breath becoming even between inhale and exhale. Notice the tiny pause at the top of the inhale and at the bottom of the exhale. Please raise your hands. So to resisting, to remain full-hearted. So we're going to chant Namada. Namada. Namidam. Namidam. Natta punam mudachate. Natta punam mudachate. Nasya punam madaya. Nasya punam madaya. Nameva vashishate. Nameva vashishate. Om Purnamada Purnamidam. Om Purnamada Purnamidam. Natta Purnamudachyate. Natta Purnamudachyate. Nasya Purnamadaya. Nameva Vashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. With your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart and release your hands. Please open your eyes. Let me check what the chat says. I don't know what I can do to change that. Okay, let me check something. This one, yeah, it's connected to the port. Going in and out. Let me I just check what I have as the amount of in on the system. Okay, it's up as high as it goes. I don't want that to be a problem for you for the rest of the class, so let me just check all these cables. Yeah. So I'm unfortunately, I don't know what the solution might be. I'm not so bad. I didn't change anything, but maybe it's, well, we'll find out. So let me know if it happens again. And what you'll have to do, because I won't be able to read while teaching, you could unmute and let me know if it happens. And thanks for giving me the input. I want it to be a positive experience for you. So, all right. So this morning for exploring equanimity, I'd like us actually to start on the back. We're going to do some work with the core, the intrinsic core, pelvic floor, transverse abdominis, and so on. Yesterday in our practice, we did quite a bit of opening for the upper chest, upper back, and arms. We're going to include that here. So lie on your back, please. And when you lie down, make sure you've got room overhead for both arms to go straight. And you won't run into anything. And then you've got space to your right and your left for the legs. So just check on that. And then what I'd like you to do is to start with the legs together as a unit. Take the arms out into a T shape. Now, when you're inhaling, you'll be in the center, or you'll be returning to center. When we exhale, we're going to take the legs again as a unit to go down to one side. So the knees are going to be symmetrical there. The left leg doesn't get shorter than the right, and you'll have to lengthen through your left outer hip to extend in that direction. When you come back to center, you'll feel the sacrum rolling on the floor. When we go to the other side, again, the legs are acting as a unit. And that's important that you keep the legs together, because I want you to feel like you're steering the legs as a unit from inside the pelvis. Okay, so arms out to the side and breathing in. And then exhale both knees over to one side. Use the length of the exhale. And inhale, roll back to center. Try to sense that the inner belly is actually kind of like an ocean wave moving across the abdomen, and you exhale over to the other side. And then inhaling to center. So in this particular twist, you can continue. In this particular twist, your body, the upper back is not so involved in the twist, but the sides of the waist and the outer hips are. The knees are not in a lot of flexion. They're between flexion and extension. When you're going side to side, try to sense for yourself how you're synchronizing the movement of your body with the pace of your breathing. Now, the next time that you're going to have your knees go to your left, go ahead and pause right there. As the knees go left, lengthen your right thigh and sweep your right arm overhead past your right ear. And then exhale and roll your knees back to center. Oh, you guys are drinking from my water glass. And take the knees over to the right and lengthen your left arm overhead. So the two arms are going to join. I lost my water glass. It went to the kittens. To practice equanimity with that. Okay, and then inhale back to center. So now you have both arms overhead. And the legs are joined. Okay, so let's exhale to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale right. Inhale center. When your legs now exhale to the left, Be sure to use the strength of the right butt to lengthen your right thigh, even to stack your right hip over your left. And then inhale to center. And exhale right. Use the strength of the left butt. And inhale back to center. And with the arms overhead, exhale, curl your knees up towards your chest. Inhale, float your knees away from your chest, about 90 degrees to the torso. Exhale, squeeze the knees in towards your chest. Inhale, knees away. Exhale, squeeze the knees in. Inhale the knees away. I'm listening to the kittens really go after that water glass. Exhale, squeeze the knees in. And one more time, inhale the knees away. And exhale, squeeze the knees in. And roll up to your seat, please. And come to kneeling. Roll all the way up to sitting and come to kneeling. Okay, and let me go sideways. So what we were just doing there on your back is very similar to what we do here when we're going down in the arrow position. And that's going to require a different kind of abdominal strength to do that. For some of you, you've let me know that when you're going forward, you feel like you're going to fall on your head. Some of that is if the hips don't stay at the heels, you'll feel like when the butt's coming up, you're going to get heavier going down. Yeah, so raise the arms up, inhale, and when you exhale, curl the lower belly in so that on the way down, your spine actually is allowed to round. And then inhale, raise back up. Using the inner belly, curl yourself up. And exhale, curl down. So connect into the deep abdomen, just above the pubic bone. And inhale, roll up. And once more, exhale, roll down. And last one, inhale, roll up. And then exhale, arms out to the side. So it should feel to you like you were using your abdominal muscles there and that you were helping the pace of your descent, the pace of your ascent is really controlled by this, the second chakra, this region of the body. Now placing your attention there, put your hands out over your knees, Vastrika. Let's begin. Exhale. Inhale to suspension. I'll curl down to child's pose where you're going to try to place your nose on your knees. And then inhale, come back up to Vajrasana. And relax, relax deeply. You can imagine a kind of evenness of heart your heart on the ocean of life. The boat has to be big enough, the heart big enough, not to be capsized. But the heart is not like an enormous ocean liner that feels nothing. Now, Kapalabhati. Now completely. Inhale to suspension. Now curl forward as if you're going to place your nose on your knees. Inhale to come up. Pause there also. How the stability at the second chakra, which is where we navigate those pendulums between craving and aversion. Listen for how some stability here contributes to a quality of stability or equanimity in the heart. Kapalabhati once more, and a little bit more brisk, a little more rapid. Out completely. Inhale to suspension. And curl down. Rise up to your seat and relax. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnata Purnam Mudachyate Purnasya Purnam Madaya Purnameva Vashishate. Coming to the side view for you all, we're going to come down to the forearms in Sphinx, Sphinx plank, we can call it that. Some people call it dolphin plank. And then also looking at the transition between those. So come onto your forearms, stretch the legs behind you, point your toes, When you place the forearms down, press down with your elbows, lift your heart, open the collarbones, roll your shoulders back. And breathing in. And press into the elbows, exhale up to the knees and elbows in a kind of table pose. Curl the toes under. Inhale to this plank pose variation. And then exhale, come back down to your Sphinx pose without crushing your kitten. Inhale, open the heart. Exhale, up to the elbows and knees. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down to your Sphinx pose. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, elbows and knees. Plank pose. Sphinx. Now lift the heart. You may choose to straighten the arms. And exhale, elbows and knees. Inhale, plank. Exhale, Sphinx. Now lift the heart. You might also lift your elbows. And then exhale down to the elbows and down to your abdomen. Make a little pillow of the hands for your forehead. Okay, let's root the legs down so the tops of the feet press down. Press your tailbone down, lengthen your sacrum from your lumbar spine. And then sweep the arms straight back towards your legs. Palms can face in. And as you inhale, raise your shoulders, the base of your skull, the back of your heart, and your arms. As you exhale, lower down and just bow your forehead to the floor. Inhale, roll up, keeping your legs grounded and stable. Exhale, roll down slowly at the pace of the exhalation. Twice more. One more. Exhale, come down. This time, place your palms beneath your shoulders. Inhale up to table. And exhale back to child's pose. Inhale to cat pose. Exhale, cow pose. Curl your toes under. Inhale, downward facing dog pose. Exhale, plank pose. Now inhale, knees, chest, and chin. Exhale, cobra. Inhale, seal. Exhale, plank. Inhale, downward dog. Exhale, plank. Inhale, knees, chest, and chin. Exhale, cobra. Inhale, seal. Exhale, plank. Inhale, downward facing dog. Okay, walk your hands with straight elbows, one hand print at a time, back to Uttanasana. Raise your hands to your hips and rise up to standing. And then come to mountain pose. Notice what's happening when you come up to your plumb line. Like you could imagine the physical evenness, a physical equanimity, left to right, front to back, and the center of what I called this weekend, the center pole of the circus tent. I'm not saying that you're a circus. Interpret it how you want to. Mountain pose. Please come to your jazz dance warm-up pose. Press out through the inner thighs. So we're going to return now to our explorations of Uddiyana Bandha and the exhale suspension. So let's press out through the inner thighs, establish the strength of your jazz dance pose. So the arms are straight, the hips are stable. As you inhale, imagine you're breathing up the back hemisphere of the torso, like the back of the waist, the back of the sacrum, the back of the heart. When you exhale, imagine beginning the exhale right above from the pelvic floor, then right above the pubic bone, and kind of moving upwards slowly, slowly towards the heart. Make a smooth transition to your next inhale. At the end of the next exhale, you can practice the first part of exhale pause becoming exhale suction. So at the end of this exhale, you can relax all the exhale muscles and just experience the suction that occurs inside when you're not inhaling. Then tone the low belly, so to recalibrate the pressure, and inhale smoothly. And do that once more. As you exhale slowly, you're exhaling, knowing that at the end of this exhale, we won't inhale right away, but we're going to relax the exhale muscles and feel into the internal suction. Then tone the belly and inhale, rise up to standing. Make your feet parallel and come down to Prasarita Padottanasana. Walk your hands forward. So this is the outstretched version of Prasarita. Breathe smoothly. So you're going to come right into it where we exhale again, and imagine at the end of the exhale, not inhaling, but releasing the exhale muscles to experience the automatic internal suction inside the body. Then you have to recalibrate the pressure system inside before you inhale. And do that one more time, please, at your own pace. Please don't make yourself breathless. It's okay to pause between repetitions. You can experience this smoothly and without anxiety. Then walk your hands back up your legs to your hips. In your own timing, inhale, rise up to standing. Okay, so that part is just the suction part that we've been talking about. And I wanted to review it because some of you are getting confused. What happens in Uddiyana Bandha is like you pass through that part of the experience very rapidly. It's almost like undetected. So when we go to Uddiyana Bandha, the same function is happening, but you're adding this imitation inhale or this pretend inhale. And that's going to make that suction thing go quite a bit more. You're adding to it. So it's like passing through that same part of the system, but faster. Okay, let's actually try it in Prasarita, because being inverted, sometimes you experience that whisking in, the hollowing of the abdomen. You might experience it more easily because the organs of the abdomen are in a different position when you're in a forward bend compared to when you're up, even in the jazz dance pose like that. Okay, so come on down, let's try it together. I'll encourage those of you who have experience, you can do these Uddiyana bandhas consecutively. Also, if you have experience, you're welcome to move the hips about a little bit and see what kind of internal experience you can have with the iliacus or the psoas. But if you're starting this practice or still getting accustomed to it, please take your time and do the most simple form. You may even have a couple of breath cycles between the bandhas. Please begin if you haven't yet. We're not necessary to make yourself breathless, so practice at your own pace. Please do one more time. Completed that one. Raise your hands up to your hips. Rise up to standing. And let's go heel toe into horse stance, like you're riding a horse. It's not a very big horse. Okay. And then place your hands on your knees. So just building on that experience, what comes with you now is the technique, but instead of being inverted, your torso is now upright. We're leaning slightly forward, which does help in terms of the organs being a little bit more relaxed about the process, and you do have pressure with your hands on your knees. So when you come to a seated Uddiyana Bandha, you don't have either one of those things. You're not leaning slightly forward, and you don't have pressure with the hands on the knees. Let's try it twice here, since we've already had several repetitions. Please do 2 as smoothly as you can. Remember not to make yourself breathless. When you have completed that twice, please rise up to standing in mountain pose. And see if you can stand really quiet. Listen for what equanimity would mean to you, particularly if you're facing something where compassion isn't really quite the right Brahmavihara, appreciative joy is not quite it, loving kindness is not quite it. So karuna, mudita, mayatri, and you come to upekshanam, the most challenging. Place 2 blankets on the floor for Surya Namaskar. This is for the knees. This is a familiar practice from the last couple of weeks for those of you who've been here. So the stack of blankets is going to raise your knee when you're doing Anjanae Asana. And that means it's a little bit deeper request of the body in Anjanae Asana. It also means that I'm going to recommend you have blocks for your hands because it is difficult or not really appropriate to do, let's say, cobra or seal pose without those blocks. And if you have your 4 blocks for this morning, you will need 4 blocks before the end of class. I was about to take a sip of my water, but I have remembered that it's become, it's got cat hair in it. It's become their water glass. Now they're all sleeping on top of each other over here. So, okay, please step to the front of your mat and join your hands together at your heart. So with Upeksa as your intention, the spaciousness, the width of the heart, and the equanimity to feel what is happening, like how we experience emotions, but experiencing them without needing to be different. So neither closing ourselves off, nor being so susceptible to collapsing. So Upeksa is in the middle. Inhale, sweep your hand down, turn your palms up, raise up. Exhale, bow forward. Go ahead and place your hands on the blocks to give yourself a little downward pressure to squeeze the breath out. Inhale, lengthen forward, rise up through your fingers, open your throat. Exhale, deep bow towards the legs. Inhale, glide forward, prepare to step backwards. On your exhale, left toes straight back and left knee down. Means that your right knee is forward over your toes. Inhale, rise up, Anjanae Asana. And exhale, arms wide, touch the 2 blocks. You are squeezing the breath out. Inhale to plank pose. And then exhale, downward facing dog pose. Inhale, plank. And exhale, seal pose. Exhale, plank. Inhale, downward facing dog. You exhale, left foot forward. Inhale to rise. Exhale, descend. You are squeezing the breath out. It's okay for the thigh to touch and the chest to touch each other. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, downward dog pose. Inhale, plank, broaden the back of your waist. Exhale, seal pose. Inhale. Exhale, plank. Inhale, downward dog. And exhale, step forward. 1 foot. Second foot, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. A twist to that one. I have to scooch my blankets back a little bit farther. So we're going to add a twist to Anjanae Asana now, and the twist is going to be in the upper back and heart. Inhale, raising up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, glide forward. Okay, exhale, left toes back and left knee down. Inhale, rise up. Now make the lower body really stable. And exhale, twist to your right. Inhale, open that twist like the right hand is making an offering. And then exhale around to center. Inhale, go up like arrow pose. And exhale, bow forward. Squeeze your chest to your thigh, touch the two blocks. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, seal pose. Inhale, light it up. Exhale, plank. Inhale, downward dog. Left foot forward. Inhale, rise. Keep the lower body really stable. And then exhale, twist your upper body and chest to your left. Exhale to center. Inhale like arrow pose. And exhale, bow forward. Bring your chest to your thighs. Squeeze the breath out. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, seal pose. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, plank. Inhale, downward dog. And now exhale, knees to your blankets. Point your toes, drop the hips back. This is a variation on child's pose. Let's keep the arms out in front and lift the base of your skull so the head isn't actually dropping heavy, but we do want the hips to try to touch the heels. So you squeeze the breath out. And then inhale forward to cat. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, cat. Exhale, dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, child's pose. Walk your hands back towards your knees. Let's take the top blanket, this one here, and unfold it once. And then start folding it like ribbon candy until the very top. So I did 4 folds for mine. So I put the bottom of my blanket kind of in the middle of the first blanket. Then I've got fold number 2, fold number 3, and I'm going to roll it to make fold number 4. And that is where the belly button is going to go here in just a moment. So when you place the belly button here, you are placing it so that that last little ridge of the blanket is also between your side ribs and your hip bones. And you can come down to your elbows. Let's bend the knees, point the feet up towards the ceiling, and then let the feet and the shins move side to side like windshield wipers, because you're going to be massaging the inner belly. That's right. Right across the navel and into the sides of the abdomen too. You might have some tender spots in there. Maybe you're remembering what you ate over the weekend, or what you had last night before bed. The center. Place your hands beneath your shoulders. Press up to your hands and knees. Walk your knees in and come to Badakanasana. Smile at the inner abdomen, please. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnata Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Okay, so now please smooth out the top blanket. So the two blankets should both be smooth. And they're going to be supporting your hips. Take your two blocks and make them flat. Take the second blocks and you can start with them on the flat setting like this. To come into position, I'm going to recommend that you start kneeling sideways of the blankets. Excuse me. And then you place your hips on the blanket and roll onto your back. And then set up your hips on the two blankets and your feet on the two blocks. So you have an advantage here. You've started with the hips elevated and you have your feet elevated. So just pause here to notice now what is happening in all that work you just did with the belly. What is happening within? What do you sense between the two hip bones and the lower ribs, the pubic bone, the base of the sternum? What's happening in this region of the body? Press your heels down, tuck your shoulders under, and raise up to a supported version of bridge pose. Tuck each shoulder under, turn your palms face up. And then exhale, roll your hips down. Return to this just gently supported kind of passive, not really a total inversion, but somewhat inverted. Make the block, the top block on the medium. I recommend that you actually sit up and do it, but if you want to play with your foot dexterity, you could do that also. If you haven't played with that very much, this is a construction project, so don't risk your stability. Check it's at the edge of the block. There we go. Okay, and then pressing down against the two blocks, raise your hips up. Notice that the hips and hamstrings have a little more effort to put in. Tuck the shoulder blades under, turn your palms face up. Press your shoulders back and your heart up. And then exhale and lower your hips back down. Come down to your blankets. And now take each block. You need your hands to have a block. With the base blocks, let's turn them up to the medium setting. And that means you're starting with a little bit lower than you just were, but higher than normal. We're going to be moving these blocks, the blankets out of the way. So lift your hips and pull the blankets aside. Then take these two blocks and stack them under the back of the pelvis. So your feet are elevated and your hips are elevated. Tuck the shoulder blades under, tuck the shoulders under. Turn your palms face down and make a strong effort to press your shoulders back, elbows down, palms down, and then inhale to raise up. Out to lower down. This time, keeping the shoulders rolled back, take your legs up to the candlestick pose. So we just incrementally increased your capacity for what the chest and the heart can do, how the shoulder blades can support the heart from the back side. When the legs go up to candlestick pose, if you have short hamstrings or if your hip sockets are a certain design, you're going to feel like the hip flexors are working hard. In that case, please bend the knees and make the feet a little bit wider if you need to, so you don't feel like you're just cramping at the hip flexors. If you have the design for the hip joints and your hamstrings are flexible, the legs will feel like they're just easily resting above the hip joints. Heart lifted, the shoulders stay grounded here in the duration of the pose. Bend your knees and touch your feet down. When your feet go to the blocks there, make them stable. Lift your hips and put one of the blocks aside. And put the other block aside. Lower your hips down. You can use your feet to put those blocks aside. Put the soles of the feet together and put the blocks that you have with your hands right outside the trochanter so that you go to Badakanasana, and we want to feel like the lower belly and the pelvis are going to smooth out against the floor. So these blocks are right at the bone called the trochanter. So just slide it up there, it fits right behind that bony protrusion. And that means that you have just this very slight lift at the trochanter because of the blocks. So the top of the sacrum can rest back towards the floor more comfortably. Place the hands on the belly if you like. Encourage the inner belly and the inner pelvis, the lower back, this whole region to be harmoniously at ease. The mind and the heart exploring the evenness of heart, neither grasping nor aversion, neither clinging nor intolerating. You watch your body settling, settling, and settling in. The lower back to get more broad against the floor. Welcome the possibility that there is a deep inner quiet, like the ocean. We do not right now need to be captivated by the waves of craving nor resistance. All the silence within you, the inner silence and the outer silence can be one. And that inner silence as your priority. Let it go a few degrees deeper now, as if it were welcoming you. You aren't making it happen. From awareness to the inner belly, begin to tone just inside the hip bones to raise your knees back up to center. Put the blocks aside. And you can roll sideways and come back up to your seat for meditation. Turn to your seat. Come upright with enough support for your hips that you won't be distracted. The possibility of that inner silence and the outer silence, this equanimity of heart, is also how we could imagine that nature is giving us the appropriate symptoms, but she is coming not from a place of vitriol, but just the openness that nature is doing the nature thing. When we push a system out of balance, there will be symptoms. So can we imagine the heart of equanimity if we've pushed our own systems out of balance, your own personal physiological system? Can you recognize, oh, symptoms need wisdom, discernment, compassion, and to update your actions? Release your hands to your heart. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnata Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. Thank you very much, everyone. Susan, for putting that in the chat there. I appreciate it. That is the mantra. Yeah.